I want to close off today's episode talking a little bit about Jey Uso, because if you look on the internet, a lot of people are unhappy. If you look at the actual arenas, people are fine with what they're seeing from Gunther versus Jey Uso. But this story, to me, is losing momentum. It's hard to maintain that for, what would it end up being, 3.5 months? Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble on the first weekend of February. We are in the third weekend of March and still have a month to go before WrestleMania. But it feels like we're losing steam, and it feels like WWE doesn't have many ideas left in the hopper, or at the very least, they're saving them all up for the last 4 weeks. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping this was all just slowing things down because they had so much time to kill, and now they'll kick things into high gear. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if you look at this feud to this point, Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble, a decision that has been discussed and picked apart left and right for the past month and a half. But then you have the 1 to 2 week phase of Jey making his decision. Well, I could go with Gunther, and Gunther saying, don't go with me. I am going to punish you if you choose me. And then going over to SmackDown and saying, Cody, what do you think? What do you think about me versus you? And then the next week, he makes his decision. He gets beat down, but he says, you know what? It's going to be me versus Gunther. So, okay, 2 weeks. That's Jey's decision. The next 2 weeks, we get Gunther's singles squashes. He goes out and he absolutely destroys Akira Tozawa, and then he destroys Otis. Why? Because at the end of the day, his nickname is the Ring General. He's not the Mic General. We need to see him in action. That's what we got. I enjoyed whenever they pivoted to that, because that felt like something that we needed to see for Gunther to build this Mania match, for Gunther to build this bully storyline, is he needed to bully some people. Not just Jey Uso, but he needed to bully other people in the locker room, specifically people that would get behind Jey Uso and make him feel that he can actually accomplish this. So yeah, that worked. That was a couple of weeks that they were able to draw that one out. And now they've gone to Jey single squashes, which if you're trying to make Jey the underdog, I don't know if squashing Grayson Waller and then beating Austin Theory in 30 seconds is the way to go. But I digress on that point. I guess it mirrors what we had with Gunther. It shows that, hey, maybe Gunther is looking at this as an actual challenge, because not only is Gunther able to squash people, but Jey Uso is at that level. He is in the main event. He is at that other level than Waller and Theory. But now that we're getting Jey Uso and a surprise tag partner against Waller and Theory next Monday night, it feels like we've lost the plot. It does. It feels like Jey Uso is spending more time on TV going after Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, or maybe not going after, but fending off Grayson Waller and Austin Theory than he is fending off Gunther, who's his actual WrestleMania opponent. I think, like I mentioned, it just feels like we've lost the plot. Gunther is the bully. And yeah, at the end of all of these segments, what is the one constant? Gunther trying to beat down Jey Uso. And that's what he said he was going to do 8 weeks ago. But at the same time, it's repetitive. And whenever all of these phases of this storyline are drawn out for 1, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it starts to get a little stale. And I think that's the way I'm feeling. Now, with that said, there are 4 more weeks to WrestleMania. I am not burying this feud. I am not burying this match at WrestleMania for a couple of reasons. One, you have 4 weeks. It's time to turn up the heat, and I bet you they do. I bet you WWE said, listen, a lot of that multi-week phase crap was to get us to this point. We had a lot of time to build this match, and we didn't have a whole lot of ideas when it came to, can we have 13 different stories told in 13 different weeks between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So with 4 weeks to go, it's time to get creative. It's time to turn up the heat. I believe that they can still do that. Now, this was the first match made. Before Charlotte versus Tiffany, this was the first match made. It's been passed up by 3 others, right? John Cena and Cody Rhodes now sits atop the card at WrestleMania, at least in my eyes. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk sits higher on the list than this world title match. And that one doesn't have a strap. Bianca Belair, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley sits above this. And you could make the case for Charlotte and Tiffany. They've had to face very similar issues that Jey Uso and Gunther have had to face, and that it's been a long time since that match was made, and they have a long time to build the story and keep interest in the story. But I think they've done it at a higher level on SmackDown than they've done it on Raw with the World Heavyweight Championship. So again, I think they have time to fix this. I think they have time to build this as good as it needs to be. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot of faith in, can Gunther do what Gunther does and make his money and make his hay in that ring at WrestleMania? I have faith in that. I think once Mania comes around, even if you're not happy with the storyline, there is going to be a great payoff. Even if Jey Uso wins, there's going to be a great payoff, and I think there's going to be a great match. People forget, because of Jey Uso's match with Jimmy last year, that he is somebody who, when the stage gets the brightest, can put up a unforgettable matchup. He did it at WrestleMania 39 in a tag match with Jimmy, Sammy, and Kevin. And he's in there with somebody that is going to give him an opportunity to do the exact same thing. If Jey Uso brings his A game, it's going to be a phenomenal matchup, and it's going to be something that a lot of people look back on and say, the build wasn't great, but the match at the end and the payoff was absolutely tremendous.